So this is the Reebok Floatride Energy 3.0. So they dropped the Forever from this line after the 2. So let's get to the specs on this. This is 26 millimeters of stack height in the heel, 17 millimeters in the forefoot for a 9 millimeter drop, and it checks in at 8.5 ounces for what I believe is a men's size 9. And so how does this shoe compare to the Forever Floatride Energy 2, which was 29 millimeters in the heel, 19 millimeters in the forefoot for a 10 millimeter drop, and it weighed 9 ounces. So the first thing that I noticed comparing this shoe to the 2 was that when I first stepped into it, it felt like there was targeted cushioning in the forefoot and the heel. Now I haven't looked for any teardown videos or guides, but I can't imagine that there's targeted Floatride Energy foam in those 2 locations, similar to how Nike is doing with the Pegasus and the airbags. It could very well be that there is a little bit of more built up foam. In any case, to me, it feels like there's a little bit of added protection in those 2 areas, which I really liked, upon initial running and stepping into this shoe. So whatever Reebok has done in that respect, I really like. The other thing that I liked is that the heel counter on this shoe has been redesigned. To me, it's not a huge change, but it does lock down the heel as well or better than the 2. I also noticed that the heel counter seems a little bit wider than on the 2, and I have a 2 here that I've run in quite a bit that I can kind of show you the difference in that. But I do feel like the heel counter wraps around and it really provides a nice secure fit for this shoe, for the anyone running in this shoe. The other big change, another one, is the outsole. So I never had any issues with the 2 on any sort of slipping or running either during rainstorms or after rainstorms. But this redesigned outsole, I feel, provides even more security. I feel like I can take corners a little bit more sharply when out running, and I don't have any sort of sense that I would lose my balance or lose my footing. It just provides an extra kind of sense of security. You don't really even have to think about it. I've run in kind of different terrains, from on grass and kind of small rolling hills to concrete and on roads, and it transitions between everything so far, at least, brilliantly. It's been great. I also noticed that the design on this shoe is slightly more rockered. So let me see here if we can kind of see, and I can bring in the 2 here in a minute. But especially here in the heel. So when running in the 2, I noticed that my heel would drag, especially on longer runs when my form just kind of wasn't great. And it was a noticeable thing. It happened enough that I can remember it happening. And here we can kind of see the 2. I'll bring a 2 in here. I don't know if we'll be able to really see it on camera, but to me back here, the 2 always felt like, there's this nice kind of rocker up in the forefoot, but then it was pretty flat coming here to the back. Let's see if we can get that. So I don't know if you can really see it on camera or not, but back here in the heel, now obviously I've worn these and kind of worn them down, but it seems pretty flat back here. And on the 3, you do kind of get this swoop up here at the end that I feel really helps with transitions. I haven't noticed dragging my heel in this shoe at all, and it really feels like it helps my efficiency when running. I haven't been able to run really long distances in this shoe yet. I'm kind of coming back from an injury, so it's been about building leg strength and cardio back. So I'll be curious to see if that holds up on longer runs as well. But it's definitely something that I like, that design, and I feel like going forward it's going to really make running in the shoe continue to be fun. I also noticed that the tongue on this shoe is wider than on the 2, which you can't really see on camera so well, but it does protect the top of the foot really well, which is good. And I feel like this handles multiple paces. The 2 did as well. Like I said, I haven't been able to run super long runs in this, but even kind of slower casual runs, throwing in a couple tempo runs here and there, it's handled everything that I've thrown at it. So as far as, a quote unquote daily trainer, this shoe has handled everything that I've wanted to do in it as of yet, which is great. So what have I not liked about this shoe so far? The laces are bad. These flat laces are kind of thin. This shoe, the left shoe, fits perfectly. I don't have any issues with fit. I can tie them up, be ready to go. This right shoe, probably sizing is just a little bit big. My feet are probably just, slightly different in size. And so if I do any sort of warm-up drills before going running, I sometimes have to retie this right shoe, and I think it's these laces. So I kind of had the same issue on this Forever Floatride Energy 2, and I swapped these out, swapped the flat laces that came with these out for these round laces, and that eliminated probably 99.9% of the fit issues that I had. So what I'll do is I'll either swap these laces over when I'm done with this shoe, or I have other laces that I could use. But yeah, I mean, that's a minor detail. If that's where they're cutting costs to keep this, priced at $100, then I'll take it. It's a no-brainer at that point. And then the other thing, like I mentioned, this has a little bit less foam in the forefoot and the heel. So on longer runs, I'll be curious to see if that affects the impact protection at all. Especially running in hotter temperatures, longer distances. Sometimes the midsole foam will start to get a little soft, compress a little bit more. I don't know if 3 millimeters and 2 millimeters are going to make a huge difference, but we'll see. It'll be something that I'm curious to see if that'll make a difference in it or not. So my final verdict on these shoes, they retail for $100. I got my pair for under $70. I think I've seen on Reddit people were able to get these for under $50. I think at $100, if that's your budget for a daily trainer, these should be at the top. The Floatride Energy 4s are hard to find. Last I checked on Reebok.com, they're out of stock, and I haven't really seen them available in too many other locations as of yet. So if you're looking for a daily trainer, $100, no brainer. I put these at the top of the list for you to consider. At $70, they're a steal at $70 for sure. Under $50, I'd probably buy 2 or 3 pairs of them, honestly. I think they're that good that you could have a pair, put 300, 400, 500 miles on them, depending on what you're doing, and then just get into the next one. I was looking to add another shoe into my rotation because I had the Glycerin 19s, which I did a video on. And I ended up getting rid of that shoe because it just felt a little clunky. It kind of felt pace dependent, where it liked to run at a very specific pace and didn't want to deviate from that too much, which is a shame because the step and comfort on that shoe was amazing. I also had the Pegasus 38s, which I enjoyed running in, but the heel was a little bit narrow and it kind of also felt a little pace dependent. So, and speaking of heels, I said I was going to kind of show you this. So I don't know if you can really see here on camera so great. Let's see. I don't know if you can really tell how wide these heel counters are on these shoes. But to me, this one feels a little bit wider and provides a little bit better of a wrap for heel security. So going back, those, I got rid of, or I kind of stopped running in those 2 shoes. I was looking for a new daily trainer. I considered the Puma Velocity Nitro 2, but I'm looking forward to the Nova Blast 3 that's going to release in September. And those shoes, they're probably going to run differently, I would imagine, but the stack height seems to be that it's going to be similar. So for a higher stack shoe, I think I would lean towards the Nova Blast on that. And since this is kind of a more pure daily trainer setup, I figured I'd give it a try. I love the 2. It was kind of one of my favorite shoes that I had recently run in, so I figured I'd try the 3. And it's a great shoe. It's crazy how under the radar this shoe is a lot of times. Nike and Saucony and Hoka, a lot of the other shoes really beat it out, Asics, as far as popularity or word of mouth. But I would definitely consider buying these shoes at full retail price, and if you can find them on sale, definitely give them a try because they so far have been great to run in. It's a no-brainer. You just put them on, no frills, out the door. You know what you're getting as soon as you put them on. You don't have to mess with pace or mess with fit too much. So yeah, I would definitely give these a look and consider adding them to your rotation.